You need to listen to this podcast on how to make America mediocre for once. And the only person that could pull this off is the most mediocre person I've ever met, John Hicks. What do you call this thing? The retirement solution with you? That's very mediocre. I approve.
Helping you solve the retirement puzzle. Welcome to the Retirement Solution with John Hicks.
Hey, thanks for checking out the podcast. If you have a question for John that you'd like us to address here, reach out to us online. You can always connect with us at retirementsolutionradio.com. And so many of those questions lately, John, have centered on politics. So we're going to spend a little time on this today. I know the election season is certainly heating up. We officially have our Democratic nominees now with former Vice President Biden and now his running mate, Kamala Harris. It's official, but you're not impressed.
Of all the people on the planet that we could have out there to actually do anything to unify this country, to make it a better place, to make it something that we would want to give to our children, the other side gives us Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Kamala.
I think.
Kamala?
I don't know. We got to keep working on this.
I want to say it correctly.
Even after
I want to say it
all
correctly.
the coverage this week, even after that, I still don't know how to say it properly. So I'm working on it. But you're right, John. I mean, this is who we're stuck with. I don't know. That's kind of the overwhelming feeling for a lot of us right now. I don't care which party you're a part of. I think most of us are going, really? This is what we're stuck with?
Well, in the words of Joe Biden, come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, that's what I kept saying every time the Democrats would say, "Oh, here's what we're going to do." Come on, man! It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Oh my, yeah, especially after this week. Now, it's been tough news to swallow for a lot of people. The coverage alone this week has been kind of nauseating for a lot of our listeners, John. So Today I wanted to break down for people, okay, what would that Biden-Harris ticket actually mean for our retirement? Because we can base that on what they've already told us here. And, in particular, I think this VP selection maybe was more important than most because I think realistically, a lot of us are thinking the same things. She could end up in the top job at the White House eventually.
Well, realistically, I don't know how it could be any other way. I mean, Joe Biden, if he were to actually win in November, he will be 78 years old, just a few weeks after that victory, if he were to have one, okay? 78 years old. When Ronald Reagan was in office, they thought that he looked old. He didn't act old a day. This guy they're trying to keep him from debating, right? Jennifer, you know this, right?
Yes.
They are doing everything. They're hiding behind every shrubbery, every bush, every failed monument out there. They're running everywhere they can to hide him from a microphone.
Yeah.
In fear that God knows what he's going to say.
Right.
And I, for once in my life, would love to see Trump take someone on in a debate. Usually it makes me a little uncomfortable, a little nervous, because you don't really always know exactly the direction the president's going to go.
Yeah.
But I would love to see him with bazookas firing against come on, man, Joe Biden, who doesn't even know how to pronounce his vice president nominee's name. No, in all fairness, I don't either. But it's not because I think that he was a small boy that likes to sit on my lap and rub my hairy legs.
Right.
Which we've heard him say.
It's actually come out of his mouth, yes.
He's literally said that.
Yeah.
All right, enough. Anyway, so what could it mean? Well, number one, the chances of him serving out a 4-year term is not that great.
Right.
Not that great from actually serving it out. So when you really have to understand it, what we are essentially nominating is at the time, a surrogate president in the making. This has not happened really before, right? When Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in office, his actual vice president was of the other party. They never thought that person was going to take over.
Yeah.
When Kennedy was assassinated, they had no idea that LBJ was going to end up being the next president, right? When Richard Nixon got caught in Watergate, they had no idea he was going to be forced to step down, and that was going to give us Gerald Ford. No one had any idea that was going to happen at any of those points in time. And here we have the writing on the wall that's basically saying Kamala Harris, Mrs. Harris, Senator Harris, is going to be potentially, very great chance, the next president of the United States.
Yeah.
So if that's going to be the case, who cares what Joe Biden stands for? He's not going to be there very long, right? So what they're running on is this newbie, the bastion of liberal thought in this country. Now, is it wonderful that she has an opportunity to do this? Absolutely.
Sure.
And if she wins, she wins, and I have no problem with that. I love competition in this country. I want people to go out and vote their conscience, vote their way. But when you think about what she has already said that she stands for, remember, she ran for president, and she lost the nomination. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that she ran for, Jennifer, well, she ran for Medicare for all. She stole this right out of the Bernie Sanders playbook. She basically said, I love this idea because this is the biggest problem in America is not everyone has Medicare. This is the biggest problem we have. At least that's what she thinks.
Interesting.
And this is interestingly enough, and there have been so many studies done on this. I quit paying attention once Sanders got kicked out. But now that Harris is now going to be the vice presidential nominee, now you have to wonder, okay, what did that mean? Well, guys, this was going to cost the nation between $30 and $40 trillion in just its first 10 years.
Oh, wow.
No, these are government statistics, which means these are probably so
underinflated,
low.
right?
Yeah, underinflated. But this was going to cost $30 to $40 trillion just for the first decade.
Wow.
And so here's my question. Do we really all want Medicare for all? Why not give us all Ford Broncos? Ford Broncos for all. How about we all get one-way flights to the Bahamas for all?
Sweet. Yeah,
I mean,
sign me up.
Jennifer, think about it. If we're going to bankrupt the country, let's get something decent out of it.
Let's go big.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things that she stands for. She also loves the idea of taxing the rich. So if you've done a good job, oh, and by the way, you know, how we define the rich is very different depending on who you talk to.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But when it comes to the average bear out there that have these ideas and these aspirations, typically if you've saved better than $300,000 to $500,000, that's kind of the low end part. But if you've saved at least $300,000 to $500,000, congratulations, you are rich.
Woo!
You are rich in the eyes of a lot of these folks. And because of that, you should pay not just the fair share. We're currently paying that now. You need to be paying more than your fair share. Now, how big of a ripoff is that?
Right.
Because one of the other things that Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, one of the other things that she has stood for is that she believes in that big old tax on Wall Street. Now, in and of itself, I don't mind a tax on Wall Street in and of itself, but do you know who ends up paying the tax on Wall Street, Jennifer?
Anyone who's investing on Wall Street?
There
anything?
you go.
Yeah.
Anyone that's invested in any mutual fund.
And this was another Bernie idea, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
She has no original thoughts that I can currently find. She really can only use other people's thoughts who have blazed the trail, and she just jumps on the bandwagon. It'll be interesting to find out what she actually thinks herself. But so far up to now, most all the things that she has come up with and thought about are things that other people have come on that I don't want in this country. But this tax on the on Wall Street, and who was it that did this? SIFMA. SIFMA.
This is a
sounds like,
lovely acronym.
That sounds like one of those side effects you get when you take one of those bad drugs that they talk about on TV. This may cause nausea, vomiting, SIFMA, whatever it is. No, but the Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association. Anyway, one of these acronyms did a study, and what they found out was, and here's the big one, if they did actually have a Wall Street tax, don't think for a second that those guys are going to pay that. They're going to pass it on to us. Now, see, notice I didn't say you, I said us, because I invest in it too.
Right, yeah.
So the point is, we all get this, and for the average person out there that has normal annual savings in their 401k, it was going to cost them $600 a year. That's money you're not going to get or won't be matched to you. So that's one way to look at it. But Jennifer, it adds up over time. Do you know that what this organization discovered was that you would have to work an additional 2 years in order to pay for this tax? Now, I want you to think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Ms. Harris. Thank you, Senator Harris. We appreciate that. So now you've deterred my retirement further. For what point? I'm going to get a Medicare when I'm 65 anyway.
Right.
But now I can't even retire at 65. I got to retire at 67.
Wow.
Because of that stupid tax that you support. And for what cause? For what reason? For what purpose? Because Wall Street ain't paying that tax, guys. We are. So when you really look at how these things work out and what she happens to stand for, again, forget Joe Biden, he's a has-been already anyway. He's 78 years old. He has no extra things he can say. We already know everything about him. Sniffs people's hair. Creepy as all get out. I think he's fondled women on stage during actual pictures. I think I'm pretty much seen that. As a matter of fact, I know I have. And this is the best person to go against the current president. But then the person he's coming up there, which is the one you got to look at, She basically does not believe in capitalism. She basically does not believe that American citizens can be responsible, save their own money, and do things correctly for themselves. No, she thinks that government needs to fix that for everyone. What she's basically saying is, no. Medicare for all is one thing, but you do not get freedom for all. We will decide for you. We will decide for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not want that in this country.
Right.
I wish her the best. I hope that she has a wonderful political career. I just honestly hope it's not as the potential future President of the United States.
Have questions for John? Drop us an email at retirementsolutionradio.com.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if John Hicks is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through John Hicks, Kentucky Insurance License number 998827.